You play online by vote candidate too. You play must look candidate you play. Candidate lo you and fit lo making you inside the parliament or no. Some candidate or leader lo place. Some candidate all can run all the district or working work lo district or even working work lo province or working work lo house life. But all can come lo waganin la fight lo rights lo you na resource lo you na development by come up lo hap lo you. All can talk lo region. All can talk lo international scene or no god. All can talk one time or tribal company na talk this la agreement and you know right. We play no like him la agreement. Or this contract can be wrong, people need no trading contracts or people can benefit. This candidate and can make him kind of work na to local. You know can vote him man nothing because I'm country blow you, I'm tambu blow you, or you two plus play pokies one time or round a piney merry one time, or drink beer one time, or I'm got tribe la bell, now get time and drive go come, you took higher leader look in. You must vote him man when by come inside the parliament, na maki mouse blow you, no all get a hap. No place, no district, no province, no country, no region, no world. Papua New Guinea are now connected one time world. Now you need him or candidate by come up member we're all by not no talk no this stage no level, no world level, no regional level, no national level, no provincial district level. Enough no Salem online we're all in no fit no make him kind thinking or talk come inside the parliament. No can vote him just because I'm country blow you, or I'm tambu blow you, or you two plus play bomb one time, or I'm one to Portman blow you, club in Desmit or community school come up now. You must ask him you yet. This like candidate and fit no go inside the parliament na maki mouse blow me or no god. Now two you must ask him you yet. Suppose tomorrow you need go fight one time Narbla country or Narbla country invade him like country blow you Papua New Guinea. This like candidate blow you by sun up na fight too or no god. You must ask him you yet. Now you must kiss him picking blow you come na sanapim lo I blow you na you look inside lo I blow picking blow you na you asking you yet. Future blow picking blow me by also one end. Underneath lo hand blow like candidate. Candidate blow me and fit lo working want lo group la future where picking blow me and can stand up independent na free na yet can look out in yet na he got opportunity lo picking blow me lo come up in development inside lo district or province or country blame. Candidate can work in like kind or no god. Suppose no can Salim go inside the parliament. No can Salim leader where mark blowing or place tasol or district tasol or province tasol. Salim man by come inside where mark blowing or international scene, or regional scene, or provincial scene, or district na place too. It must fit lo play all get a disla role. It must fit lo wear him all get a disla jersey. Before you miss a Salim kind line go inside because no got plenty Save man, no got plenty strong man. But now you make a plenty Save man stuff, Save Mary stuff, strong man Mary or stuff. All can fight, no rights blow you, no all get at this level. Now you Salim all go inside the parliament and by all look out in you, na interest blow province blow you, district blow you, country blow you, na picking blow you. Think good na maki mol candidate. No can kiss him leaflets na be a kind thinking na maki mo candidate. You vote him man lo leaflets na be a kind thinking. And by going inside na walk him leaflets na be a kind decision. Na kakai lo display and by leaflets na be a kind decision by come out lo kakai lo. Future lo beginning lo you and by also leaflets na be a kind future. You put your approach na maki mo la kind line go inside. Thinking good na maki man no Mary go inside. M2 must strong la man where M can talk or strong la Mary where M can talk piscine, talk English, all get that talk M can walk into. Talk one time you me yet, talk one time one piscine, talk one time one country, talk one time international level, M must fit no walk him all get that walk. Suppose M no fit no can salim go inside lo. You play by wasting time lo country na wasting time lo you play yet too. Thinking good na maki man or Mary go inside lo parliament. No can long na, no can foul na, vote him or kind line will by go wasting time you me all get that. Thank you.
Honourable Governor Foro.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker, for giving us the opportunity to debate this very important subject. I won't be long. I will speak very briefly as the chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reforms. I want to commend the Minister for his report and his team at DPM They have done a magnificent job. Wonderful reports that have been presented. They've addressed a number of key issues that affect our public sector, and I commend him for his efforts. Our committee is working very closely with his department and other departments in making an attempt to attend to many of the issues raised by our good governor for Honourable, who was absolutely correct in regards to the plight of our public sector. The state of our public sector needs to be completely reviewed. If we look at ourselves today as a nation, the reason why we are not progressing is because we are still pushing a colonial era machine. While most of the economies around the world are driving SUVs, we are pushing a wheelbarrow insofar as the public sector is concerned. So how do we transform that wheelbarrow into the SUV that this country needs so that it can implement the vision that elected members of parliament have, that leaders who have been elected to transform Papua New Guinea into a great nation have? How can we do this? And the answer is actually presented here in this report, but there's much more work to be done, and work that we must undertake with great haste. And I'm looking forward to the presentation by the Minister in regards to the recommendations presented by Deloitte, one of the top 6 accounting firms in the world, which was engaged to do a audit of our payroll system, which takes up a chunk of our budget every year. I believe about a third. I may be corrected. Too much, to be honest. That report was not presented today. I believe the Minister will be presenting it next week, and I shall then speak in regards to that and the role that the Special Parliamentary Committee played in this effort. I want to commend the Executive Government under the Prime Ministership of James Marape, the Honourable James Marape, who has attended to this issue, one of many legacy issues that affect our nation, but he has grabbed the bull by the horn, so to speak, with his NEC, and I'm pleased to see that they are progressing the recommendations made, and that report will be presented by our good minister next week. We're all going to look forward to debating this very important report. I just want to add a few comments in relation to the current report that he presented. And taking note of the comments made by our good governor for Honourable, the current situation with our public service is this. Our public service are suffering from lack of proper benefits, from lack of proper remuneration, from unproductivity caused by these situations. We expect them to turn up, be happy, be productive, help transform this nation. But what do we pay them to do this job? Where are they living? What are the conditions they live in? I'm a former public servant, as is the good minister, and many of you here. And we know what conditions we worked under. Deplorable conditions. But prior to independence, the conditions of the public servants were quite significant. Drivers, cleaners, T-boys, they had houses. And they had pride, they had dignity, because the public sector took care of them. So they were able to attend to their duties of transforming this economy, building a great nation. To do that, you need productive people. You need the most innovative and intelligent people. But the most innovative and intelligent people in this country are working for the private sector. Or, in many cases nowadays, they're actually living offshore. They're going overseas to other countries. In this globalized world, they can do that. And we are losing many of our great, wonderful minds. So who do we have left? We have 3 types of public servants. I've said this before. One is you have the transitionary public servant, the nomad. He's just passing through the public service, waiting for a better job somewhere else. Most times he's sitting at the computer typing applications for other jobs, or typing his programs for himself or his wife or his church or whatever it is. But he's not actually serving the country, but he's been paid for that. The nomadic transitionary public servant. It's about, I would estimate, good 30% of our public sector is made of this. The other 30% are there as part of the social security system that we have allowed to become insofar as our public sector is concerned. They don't mean to get a job anywhere else. They're very comfortable. They turn up whenever they feel like it. They leave when they feel like it. No one's checking on them. No supervisor or manager or department head is making an effort to discipline them. And maybe they can't because we haven't given them the benefits, perks, and privileges that they deserve. So maybe we cannot hold them accountable. Then you have the nationalist, the patriotic public servant. I would say that's about 10% of our public service. They come and serve this country with everything they have. Despite the difficulties that they face, they may live in a settlement, they may live in the village. It may cost half their salary just to get to work, to serve this country, to build this nation. And they do it with pride. And they're always optimistic. They're always early. They go home late. They sacrifice themselves, their family, their careers. But patriotism and nationalism doesn't put food on the table. Doesn't help them educate their children. It doesn't help them give the best they could to their family if they were, say, for instance, working in the private sector or overseas. We have to change this ratio. We need 90% patriots in our country, in the public sector, serving this country. So how do we do that? But I'm pleased to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We have connected with the New Zealand public sector, and we've been working with them for a year now, ourselves, the committee, as well as the Department of Personal Management, and we're looking at a roadmap, which will be tabled here shortly, which says how we can transform this. And we're going to have to make some hard decisions. Hard decisions. For instance, there are too many public service entities. So many. Many of them duplicating work. And without control, many of these organizations have just sprouted overnight. And they have a board, and they have a chairman, and they have a CEO, and they have a line item from Treasury every year for their budget. And they're sucking up a lot of our revenue. We have to look at this organization and start dismantling them. If you look at the report here from the good minister, payout of abolished agencies, 40 million kina was saved as a result of this exercise. We could save much more if we did more of this, and we intend to do more of this. Too many public service entities exist that are carrying out, well, they're duplicating many roles of other public service entities. Some don't even perform. Yeah. So we're going to have to make that hard decision as well. The other hard decision that we may have to undertake is to cull the public sector. It's too large. It's so large that we're spreading ourselves thin trying to take care of all the public servants. For example, in a particular province where you may have 500 public servants, and let's say you average the pay of each of those public servants to 1,000 kina, you're spending 500,000 kina per fortnight on these 500 public servants. But I can guarantee you that out of those 500 public servants, only 100 actually turn up to work. And of that 100 that turn up to work, I would say about 80 are actually working. Now, if you were to spread that 500,000 and pay those 80, which is what you probably actually just need, so that they can perform the roles of audits, reviews, inspections, managing standards, and let the private sector do the business of goods and services delivery. If you did this, you would significantly improve the lives of those public servants, and I guarantee you that they will come to work extremely happy, willing to work, serve their country, build this nation, not steal, not engage in fraud. And then you would see this country move forward as it ought to move forward. So these are some of the efforts that will be undertaken. I do wish to commend the good minister for Department of Personal Management. He's a hard-working man. He and his team over there, despite difficulties and challenges. And I wish to commend the executive government for taking this effort on. The committee will be monitoring the implementation of those audit reports when those audit reports are tabled here. We want to make sure that those audit reports are implemented, the recommendations, sorry. That's how we can attend to the root cause of the problems that we are constantly debating and discussing here, many of which have been raised by a good governor from Honourable province, who spoke eloquently and even words of love. Thank you very much. 2022, what a great year it's going to be. 2021 was a hard year for all of us. We all suffered in some way or another. We learned a few things along the way. We lost loved ones, friends, family, people we knew. Unfortunately, COVID taught us a lot of lessons. One of those lessons is to be grateful for life, and to be grateful for the things we have that sometimes we are not mindful of. We overlook these things we have because we are so busy complaining about the things we don't have. We're so busy chasing dreams that we are not aware of the fact that many of our dreams have already come true. We live in a free country, in a very abundantly wealthy country, where there are vast opportunities for anybody who actually wants to make the effort. And in terms of fixing this country, nothing is stopping anyone from doing their part. And this is what I feel we need to talk a lot about. Today, when you go on social media, a lot of what you see is people being negative, toxic, bitter, angry, cynical about the state of their country. And they feel that it ought to be like Singapore or now Rwanda. But you have to ask yourselves, are we willing to make the sacrifices that these countries made so that they could be where they are now? Are we willing to ensure that we have high standards, for instance? Are we willing to ensure that we are a determined, disciplined people? Are we willing to ensure that our high standards are so high that they are respected by those who come into this country? That our laws are so enforced stringently in the best interest of our people that anyone and everyone visiting this country will respect those laws and abide by them? Are we willing to live in a country like this? These are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves before we fantasize about being like Singapore or Rwanda. And I'd like to say that we aren't ready yet. And I say this because if you look around and see everything happening around you, whether it's on your street or in your village, in your electorate, in your province, if you look around, you can tell that people aren't really ready to be like Singapore or Rwanda. And when I say people, I mean all of us, from the leadership level all the way down to the most lowliest citizen in terms of economy, social standing, whatever. Each and every one of us are really not ready. That's my honest opinion. But will we ever be ready? I don't think so. If we want to do something about this, each and every one of us as individuals can do something about it. And we can do this collectively, we can do this as individuals. And if we need to be motivated, we just have to ask ourselves, what type of world, what type of Papua New Guinea am I leaving my children? Thank you.